Hey, today I'm rambling about things I got wrong before 60. These aren't in any particular order, so the first one I'll start with is I think I gave too much to work, to my career. Part of that was probably lack of self-confidence. I always thought I was in a bit over my head, so I thought I had to kind of continuously prove myself. I did stick with the same CEO for about 20 years in two different businesses, but I always felt I wasn't good enough. And that took its toll. That led me to burnout, which is why I'm now semi-retired, because it just wasn't worth the continual stress that, I probably put myself under, as much as the last role was stressy in and of itself. Being on call 24/7 every day of the year for, I'm going to say, 7 of the 9 years, that's bound to take its toll. And probably the main regret was my reaction to being stressed or feeling like I was stressed. It wasn't like I was a brain surgeon or anything, but running IT for a small aged care facility that had quite a few people did stress me out, and as my wife still contends, I was quite often grumpy, which I can somewhat see why I was, but it's nice to be continually reminded of it. So, I think looking back, while it was pretty good money, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know what I'd do different now. I don't know what I'd do different if I had my time again, but I think I'd try and make my downtime more pleasant for those around me. The other thing would be I was too much of a people pleaser. I had trouble saying no. Even if I had too much on my plate, I'd just keep adding to it as people needed help. But as I was in a IT role, that was really part of my job. And it wasn't until the last year or two when I started having other staff, IT staff helping me, that I slowly learnt to delegate, and also to occasionally say no, which is quite empowering, really. So I'd recommend learning to say no, learning your limits, and knowing when enough's enough. And the other thing is, if you're continually taking on all these requests, then no one really has any idea that you've got too much on your plate, which I did tell my CEO on several occasions, and which is why eventually we had more staff hired. It was too little too late, and I'd kind of done my dash, so partially my fault for how I was handling things, but also it was a full-on role. The next thing I didn't do particularly well was look after my health. Never go to the doctor. I think that's pretty common for guys, unless your arm's fallen off, which has never really happened to me, but unless it's an extreme situation that you can't fix with, shall we say, home remedies. Um, but and also bad habits that I really should have stopped a long time ago, especially smoking and drinking. And one thing I have given up for over a year now is smoking the devil's lettuce, I think they call it nowadays. It's a good thing to realize what bad habits you're doing. It's a good thing to get regular checkups, especially when you're nearing the end of your sixth decade. And although I haven't had any major health issues, other than a mental health breakdown here and there, there's no reason not to get regular checkups and stuff. So look after yourselves and give up those bad habits. They cost a fortune too, so that's another thing. So all of this, I kind of got a little too caught up in the daily grind with work renovating several houses, you get kind of wrapped up in what do I got to do next, rather than sort of, and you don't get any downtime. So family sometimes takes a back seat, which that would be the most important thing in your life is family. So yeah, the next thing I got wrong was priorities. Don't get caught up in the daily tasks you have to do, whether they're self-imposed or work or whatever. Take some time out for yourself, for your family. I've now started resting on Saturdays, the Sabbath. So I try to sit back and relax. Try to think of God a little bit more than I do normally, and use it as a recuperating time. Whatever you've got on. It's good to have one day of the week where you can just kind of let it all go. It does take some work. It's not an instant thing. You don't just suddenly, okay, it's Saturday, well, Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. It does take some practice. You've got to somewhat prepare a bit. Make sure there's nothing pressing that has to be done during that time. Good idea would be to read your Bible. So that's something I've got to work on as well. But yeah, the main thing is have a rest day. Don't get too caught up in the daily grind. Along those lines, as in getting caught up in the stress of life, I didn't appreciate my wife early on as much as I should have, or anywhere near as much as I should have. I'm starting to recently, especially since leaving work, and it does take sort of stepping back from things to appreciate what you have, how important your wife is to you, how much she supports you, and yeah, well, she has stuck by me, even though she's continually calling me grumpy, befitting as that may be. So yes, to my wife, sorry I haven't always appreciated you as much as I should have, and I am trying to rectify that, and hopefully it shows. Then there's the kids. They do grow up really fast. It's all a blur somewhat. They're all adults now, some more than others. And I was a fairly hands-on dad, but maybe not as much as I should have been. I do have a pretty good relationship with the three of them. One's a little dodgy at the moment, but that's a topic for another session. So we are empty nesters now. So the basis of all that is that family should be your top priority. Yes, work can be stressy. Yes, chores and doing up houses can be stressy, but when it comes down to it, it's family that matters. So work on that. And if you don't have family, then friends would be the closest substitute. So work on your relationships is probably a better way of putting on it. And I don't really like regrets in life. I think it's okay to acknowledge things you could have done better or things you shouldn't have done, but don't dwell on it. Don't let it consume you. You can't change the past. You can only change what you do in the future. So yeah, try not to dwell on past mistakes. Learn from them and grow. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.